The protesters, led by the convener of the Revolution Now movement and former presidential candidate of African Action Congress, Omoyele Sowore, gathered as early as 6:50 a.m. around the headquarters of Women Affairs Ministry. It has been reported that the security forces drawn from the Nigerian police, Guards Brigade, Department of State Services, DSS, and NSCDC had beefed up security around Presidential Villa since Sunday. They mounted roadblocks at strategic places leading to the Presidential Villa, National Assembly, Court of Appeal headquarters, Force headquarters, and the popular Eagle Square. Before the beef up, the protesters had vowed to march to the Presidential Villa to press home their demands regarding the continued detention of the IPOB leader. In our next report, Afghanistan and Pakistan have agreed to an immediate ceasefire in talks mediated by Qatar and Turkey following a week of fierce and deadly clashes along their disputed border. Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs early on Sunday said that two South Asian nations agreed to the ceasefire and the establishment of mechanism and consolidate lasting peace and stability between the two countries. Doha said the two countries also agreed to hold follow-up meetings in the coming days to ensure the sustainability of the ceasefire and verify its implementation in a reliable and sustainable manner. Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar welcomed the deal, calling it a fair step in the right direction. He added that they look forward to the establishment of a concrete and verifiable monitoring mechanism in the next meeting to be hosted by Turkey to address the menace of terrorism emanating from Afghan soil towards Pakistan. In our next report, EU countries on Monday agreed to phase out their remaining gas imports from Russia by the end of 2027, breaking a dependency the bloc has struggled to end despite Moscow's war on Ukraine. Energy ministers meeting in Luxembourg approved a plan by the European Commission to phase out both pipeline gas and liquefied natural gas imports from Russia, subject to approval by the bloc's parliament. Lars Agard, Energy Minister of Denmark, which holds the European Union's rotating presidency, called it a crucial step to make Europe energy independent. The plan is part of a broader EU strategy to win the bloc of Russia energy supplies. The Commission is in parallel pushing for LNG imports to be phased out 1 year earlier by January 2027 as part of a new package of sanctions aimed at sapping Moscow war chest. But sanctions need unanimous approval from the EU's 27 nations, which has at times been hard to reach. Trade restrictions like those approved Monday instead required the backing of a written majority of 15 countries, all but Hungary and Slovakia, which are diplomatically closer to the Kremlin and still import Russian gas via pipeline, supported the last move according to diplomats. Under the proposal approved Monday, which is expected to win the support of the European Parliament, Russian gas imports under new contracts will be banned as of January 1st, 2026. Existing contracts will benefit from a transition period, with inflows under short-term contracts allow until June 17 next year, and thus under long-term contracts until January 1st, 2028. In our next report, Swiss families who were priced out of Geneva and forced to settle just across the border in France are facing a new setback. Their children are now being excluded from Geneva's schools. In a controversial movie, Geneva authorities have decided to bar students who live in the French suburbs and villages that surround the Swiss city. The decision has sparked outrage among parents, left children anxious, and placed additional strain on French municipalities now scrambling and accommodate more than 2,000 extra students in already crowded classrooms. Like many cross-border commuters, 35-year-old Joanna, mother of two who works in healthcare, moved out of Geneva in search of more affordable housing. Home to major international organizations, Geneva ranks among the most expensive cities in the world. Its unique geography complicates matters. The Swiss city is nearly encircled by France, which no point in the Geneva canton more than 5.5 kilometers or about 3.4 miles from the French border. As tensions rise on both sides, families are calling for solution and better balance between borders, budgets, and basic education. In our next report, a cargo plane veered off a runway Monday during landing in Hong Kong, hit a security patrol car, and then skidded into the sea, leaving 2 men in the vehicle, date authorities said. Officials said an investigation will aim to determine what caused the Boeing aircraft to leave the tarmac at Hong Kong International Airport, one of the busiest in the world for air cargo. The plane's damaged fuselage was left partly submerged in the seawater that borders the airport, with its emergency evacuation slides extended following one of the most serious incidents since the Hugh began operations in 1998. Stephen Yu, Executive Director of Airport Operations at Airport Authority Hong Kong, said the cargo plane from Dubai went off from the north runway upon landing and crashed through the fence and into the sea at around 4 a.m. Sunday. Yu said the patrol car was not on the runway at the time of the accident, and that it was the aircraft that veered off the runway to hit the patrol car, which was outside the fence, and pushed it into the water. A 30-year-old man aboard the ground vehicle was confirmed dead at the scene, while another aged 41 died after being rushed to the hospital. Both men were retrieved from the sunken car by drivers around 5 meters 16 feet from the shore. Emirates Airlines said the plane's crew were confirmed to be safe and there was no cargo on board. Emirates added that the involved plane was on a temporary short-term or wait lease from Haske Airline, which operates the aircraft. Officials provided a diagram that showed the plane abruptly turning left halfway down the length of the runway. The aircraft did not send an emergency signal and gave no reply when radioed by the airport, officials added. The airport's north runway was temporarily closed on Monday, while the other two runways remained